What's up, everybody? Psych Out back here with another Castle Crush video. So we are at the very end of the Dark Angel tournament. I didn't have very much time to play, so sorry. I've been traveling a lot for work lately, and I just haven't had a whole lot of time to play or especially do any recording. So I only got to play the tournament for about, I don't know, maybe 6 hours or so. But in the waning minutes of the tournament, with 5 minutes to spare, I got all the way to round 10 in the Master tournament and did end up winning. So I got one Grand Tournament victory, one Master tournament victory. Not as impressive as some of our other tournament showings, but then again, I didn't have much time to play. So without further ado, let's take a look at our Master tournament prizes. You can see we did this with 150 gems, which I do get back. I lost in the first round. I think I actually got kicked from the game and then lost, but then I went on to win 10 straight. So let's claim our prizes. Of course, we know we're going to get a couple of Dark Angels here. I already have 2 Dark Angels from the Grand Tournament. Let's see what else we get here. All right, we got another Legendary. Oh, a Dryad, that's a good card. Blizzard, I just upgraded that recently. Ooh, a Dragon, that's fantastic. Okay, cool. Let's see what else. Cards don't really use much. And Mud Elemental, not too crazy about that. 10 Skull Kings, now that's awesome. All right, really cool. More cards still. Skeleton Legion and Spectre. Okay. All right, so that's it for that one. We can check the standings. There are literally only, you can see there's 1 minute and 4 seconds, 3 seconds left in the tournament. So there's really no time to play another one. No surprise here to see that the AP Alpha Project members are all over the top of the leaderboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the top 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 8 of the top 10. Alpha Project members, and then number 11 also Alpha Project, number 13 Alpha Project, number 15 Alpha Project. I mean, very successful tournament for Alpha Project. Again, I will be somewhere a lot farther down. Okay, 55th, that's not too bad considering I didn't get to play very much. We can check the prizes. We can see it cost me 2,362 gems, which is a lot fewer than I usually spend because I didn't get to play. So the tournament's going to end here in 15 seconds. We may just want to see what our tournament prizes are while we're at it. In the meantime, I can show you the sticker. And yeah, there's the new sticker in the top right here, the Dark Angel sticker. Okay, so the tournament should be over, and if it is. Yes, okay, 55th place, as we just saw. So not a ton of prizes for this one, but we will take it considering what we were working with there. Okay, so nothing too spectacular, but 5,000 coins. Okay, so let's replay our videos. Let's go all the way down to round 1. And you can see my deck there. It's a deck that I played before in the Easter tournament. I played a deck like this, but this time I made one key switch, and that switch was removing removing one mage and adding one Dark Angel. So here, you know, I'm just sort of trying to feel out what my opponent's doing. Plays the Spike Statue, so this is a good place for my my vampire to take out the Spike Statue, and then ideally take out that. Okay, so yeah, my opponent now plays their vampire up there in the same way. I'm just going to get rid of this lane because it's going to be too strong, and I want to get rid of it now. Now, fortunately, I was a little slow, but we did just barely get rid of the black, or the skeletons with our Black Witch. Okay, so here we're pretty lucky that we drew the Inferno and kind of bailed us out of that situation. So early on, we're not off to a fantastic start in this one. Still really not sure what deck my opponent's playing. It's at this point I'm kind of thinking, okay, it must be some sort of mixed deck. The Dark Angel matches up okay against the Dryad. It will take it out, and then it will grow in strength. but my opponent black witches that, and I think my opponent black witches here as well. Yes. I'm just pushing back in the bottom lane because I don't I don't really have an answer to what he's doing down there yet. So we're just trying to get some things going. Okay, so now it's pretty clear. I want to go for the freeze. Unfortunately, my opponent played that pretty nicely. So I'm going to go here to get rid of that stack. Yeah, this isn't really starting off to be the easiest match. But my opponent's playing a crystal deck, and okay, so my opponent did a good job there. But when they're playing crystal decks, you know they're going to come fast. Okay, so here I've put, I'm just trying to keep that dragon back and kill the dragon. I really need to get rid of that archer queen, though. Fortunately for me, my dragon could reach the archer queen there. So okay, so now we're getting control. So what I was saying a second ago, the crystal decks, the thing with those that you have to keep in mind is that they, okay, so here's the Dark Angel against the Black Witch. That's a good matchup there. I don't think it's going to survive, but the two crystal decks, if you can survive the early attack, you're usually in pretty good shape. So yeah, here it's definitely the right move to put the vampire down in that bottom lane. And now we're just going to grab everything back, and we're finally getting control. So again, this is the thing with the two crystal decks. If you can survive early on, you've got a really good chance. And it's funny, that game was like, it was pretty close, but my opponent actually did no damage to my castle, even though the game it was a pretty tough game. So that was round one. Round two, I had several very tough opponents here. It was Scott from level 13, who in the main game has a max level castle, and pretty much max cards. So this was going to be tough, especially since he's playing, in this case, an overtime deck. I don't know that at this point. I don't know what he's playing, so I'm just kind of waiting. And oh, you know what? As I recall, I forgot. I beat Scott earlier, and I don't know what deck he was playing earlier, but I forgot that this one's really kind of boring because I think he disconnected or something. I forgot about that. Yeah, so I'm just going to zip through this one. I was thinking this was a previous game I played against him, but there's really nothing to see here because he clearly got disconnected. So round two was a freebie. That's nice. Round three was against 3 EBC. Opponent I've played a lot. And he always plays Reaper. He plays Reaper in the main game, plays Reaper in the tournaments as well. So here I go ahead and burn a card. I could have played the Jester, but I only have one Jester, and I'm pretty sure my opponent's playing Boneyard. So I kind of want to wait. And the longer I wait, the more chance my Jester picks up some of these skeletons from a Boneyard. And so that worked out for me okay here. Plus, I don't want to use things too quickly against a Reaper deck. So for example, this is getting a little dangerous. So I've got to put down my Spike statue, and I think he does the right thing here. Goes for the Rage. I went for the Freeze. Now the funny thing is, it makes it look like I didn't know I had Black Witch, but I did actually know I had Black Witch, and he does the right thing there. And fortunately for me, I can kill the toughest creature there. Yeah, this is looking really bad. And what I need is the wind, and I finally draw it, so that's good. And I go Inferno to slow down the attack there. So suddenly we went from almost lost, and again, there's a good matchup for the Dark Angel right up there at the top. The Dark Angel is great against all these skeletons. Okay, so I go Inferno, and I wanted to protect my Dark Angel, so I dropped the Dryad out in front. I was a little slow, I guess, with my freeze there. I actually remember playing freeze there, but okay. All right, so here I'm just going to tank this bottom lane because we don't want to deal with whatever he's got brewing, and that's going to be it. really nothing he can do from here. So another close one against a tough opponent, but we hung in there and got the win. So that was round 3. Round 4 against another another known player from I4 Cavalieri. Yeah, pretty obviously telegraphing the overtime deck with Fortify, Fortify. Sometimes in the tournament you play people you've never heard of, and some people play Fortify in weird decks, and so you think they're playing overtime, but they're not. But here I clearly know he's playing overtime, so I'm going to space my cards out. This is an important tip against overtime decks. You don't want to get all your cards at the same level because they will they'll use arrows and things like that and get them all at the same time. So see, I'm playing the Hollow Knight back a little bit. Okay, so now I know where he's got, and so at this point I also realize he's playing. I'm just a little surprised he didn't go for the meteor there. So I can tell that this is sort of a mixed overtime deck because it also has the shaman in it. Not a lot of overtime decks play shaman. And again, so this is why I play my shaman back so that it doesn't get hit with those arrows. That was a double arrow that's used to take out the Druid. It's a pretty common move in overtime decks. There, I wasn't going to be fast enough with my wind, so I didn't play it. There, I should have been, but I still was. I felt like I wasn't going to be fast enough, so I didn't play the wind there. Instead, I'm waiting to take my Hollow Knight back. Opponent does a good job here. I think I just play the wind just because I need to play something. Okay. So the opponent's in pretty good shape right now. It's an overtime player, and boy, a lot of these games I didn't realize how bad a shape I was in for a while. Okay. So yeah, not a lot to say here. Just trying to kind of hang in. Okay, so here I'm playing the Black Knight with the intention of freezing it. And I freeze it just at the right moment. And we're going to have no trouble taking out the dragon, which is always key against the overtime decks. Okay, and here comes another double arrow. But now I've got some folks up at the castle. And here I decide to go ahead and play the dragon because I know my opponent is going to play something. And the dragon pairs well here. Now here's a great place for the Dark Angel. The Dark Angel, and oh yeah, I've backed that up with an angel. Unfortunately, I did not have... so I didn't have the card I needed, but I was able to save everything with a wind. I think he gets the Inferno out in time anyway. He does. Yeah, I didn't have the Inferno in my hand to take care of the Black Witch, but at this point he's in a lot of trouble because the Dark Angel and the Dark Knight and the Hollow Knight are doing a ton of damage. And even for an overtime player, when you're down at this level, it's going to be really tough to come back. So freeze in the middle lane, kill the dragon. And I think I get that guy. Yeah, so the Dark Angel's powered up even more. He might not survive the arrow attack. No, he doesn't. Here I'm just sort of not playing a lot because I have a dragon in my hand, but the dragon pulls cards back. And against overtime decks, you have to be selective about when you play dragon. Alright, so this is a good move by my opponent. It's fine. But I also knew, I've got a wind in my hand. I've got a lot of options for dealing with whatever threats. Oh, there he tried to play the shock, but I got the Druid out in time, so it didn't matter. And I think I get him just before overtime here. Yeah, just before overtime, the dragon gets one last burst. So this deck is pretty effective against overtime decks. Okay, so let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so round 5 against Colin, who I think is somebody I've played before, but it's been too long. I don't really remember. So here I drew the card I would have wanted to match up against the Jester. Unfortunately, my opponent drew the Hollow Knight. and I've got an idea what's going on here. Yeah, then he's going to go for another big stack of things. So I'm just said, that's it. I'm just going to tank this whole lane with the Black Witch. And there we go. I was a little slow getting that out, so my opponent was able to get the orc past. But here I go for the Inferno because I definitely don't want that angel powering that orc back up. There's no reason for that. And here I'm in really good shape again because I have both a wind or a freeze. I decide just to go ahead and freeze. My opponent's already committed the giant growth, and that's going to end up costing them a lot here because now everything's in a lot of trouble. So I go with the Jester in the top lane just to add another threat out there. I've put the Vampire there with the Angel, which is always a good combination. That Mud Elemental actually gets quite strong, but I think we're able to, because of the Angel's power, we're able to wear it down just enough. Another Vampire in that lane, again, goes good with the Angel, so should be fine for us. He gets another Mud Elemental out there. I torch everything so I can try to keep my Angel alive. But in the meantime, these other lanes, we've just been pounding him, and that's going to be it. So let's see, what round was that? Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. That was round 5. So round 6 against Limeever. Did not know this player, but you'll see I got to play him again later on in the tournament. So then I definitely knew what he was playing. So you'll see here that it's a fairly obvious Reaper player because I think he plays the Reaper way too early. This is a Reaper player who doesn't have a lot of experience playing Reaper. Definitely shouldn't play that Reaper there. Fortunately, in part because I played it poorly, he was able to get a protection on it, but normally you wouldn't ever want to play a Reaper unless you could protect it. So okay, so we're okay now. The Druid does a good job against these skeletons and everything, so I played the Inferno, but unfortunately that didn't help me. I think I ultimately decided to just go for a wind here because I don't want these skeletons ruining me. So there, and now this is perfect place for this Dark Angel who gets really strong against these skeletons. Here I freeze, and my opponent froze as well, but I back it up with the Shaman, which is going to keep everything alive and take out all of my opponent's stuff. Plays the statue, in part because there's really nothing enough for him to do, but there's really nothing that my opponent can do here. It's just, there's no stopping that. So that was round 6. Round 7, we play Vicky, another player I didn't know. And this is what I mean. So sometimes you run into players who play with Fortify in their deck, and you think, oh, they must be playing Overtime. But that's not the case here. This is actually a skeleton deck. And we'll see when I play Vicky later on, I make some adjustments. So here I went ahead and threw down the Jester. Pretty lucky that most of the skeletons landed right in front of my Jester. And now I'm going, okay, this is a skeleton deck, so I'm not in a hurry to play anything. I want to see what my opponent's going to do. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to play the Spike Statue. I didn't want to play it too soon because my opponent could avoid that Spike Statue. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and play the Shaman in the middle lane because I need to get some pressure on that Skull Queen. And you'll see this gets really close. I Inferno the bottom lane just to slow down the damage because my opponent is doing a ton of damage. And I know I have to kill that Skull Queen, so I get the Vampire out there. And in the top lane, my opponent's still doing a lot of damage. And now you're going to see something that really made me very nervous. Okay, so I went for the Black Witch here just to get control of all the lanes. My opponent Inferno'd it, that's fine. Wasn't too worried about that. I just really was trying to make sure I had control of stuff. And right there, my opponent drops a meteor on my castle. And now you can see I am down to 387 health. And I know my opponent has Meteor, obviously. and any other meteor, and I'm dead. So I'm feeling pretty nervous here. My opponent's playing tons of skeletons, which, look at that Dark Angel. Look how big it's getting with all those skeletons. Inferno, it's not going to stop it. Okay, so a pushback is probably a good move. Another Inferno in the top lane. And he's going to go get that Hollow Knight. Not sure about the play there. Maybe that should have... yeah, I mean, honestly, what my opponent probably should have done here was just let their hand get full and try to play a Boneyard, because playing it at this point with no cards in your hand doesn't really help you much. But a full hand Boneyard could have taken me out, and I might not have been able to defend. I was holding cards back just as defensive cards, especially the dragon, in case I needed to pull it out to stop those kinds of skeletons. Alright, so now I know Vicky's playing that. Round 8 was against Limeever again. And here, because I know my opponent's playing Reaper, well, and of course they made it obvious too by dropping the statue right away. Now this is a really good start for my opponent, but this is a mistake a lot of inexperienced Reaper players make. You'll watch as he uses the standard bearer way too early. So that I mean, he doesn't need to do that yet. So now I can kill all these skeletons and do a lot of damage there. Immediately you want to kill the Reaper. So now the Reaper's gone. And now I'm going to go with the Hollow Knight. And knowing that if my opponent goes standard bearer, that's standard bearer number 2. And he does for no real reason. And okay, so I'll just drop my spike statue right there. And I know my opponent's out of standard bearers. And now I can drop my Dark Angel in and pick up some extra strength for him. Okay, pretty good move to try to freeze and grab my Hollow Knight, but not going to work because I've got the wind in my hand. So now I'm just waiting to see. You never know. At this point, he could have drawn another standard bearer, so I'm just sort of waiting, watching to see what he's going to do. And I decide to go another freeze right there, and just to stop that, to stop the Reaper from doing any damage. And now he's sort of lost. I mean, arrows aren't going to do anything. So that's it. So that was round 7, or no, round 8. So round 9 was against Vicky again. Now this time I remembered, okay, this opponent is playing sort of the Skull Queen Skeleton attack deck, which can be very deadly. I believe Sir Adam was playing this kind of deck in the tournament. You saw he finished in the top 10. So it's a strong deck. But I looked at my hand and said, okay, this is a pretty good hand. I mean, I've got a lot of my skeleton stopper cards. Notice I didn't even go with the Angel there. I went for the Hollow Knight right away. And here I decided to go with the Spike Statue. And in the bottom lane, I think I go with Inferno. I thought about the Druid, but I thought, nah, you know what, I better go with Inferno. Okay, top lane, I want to freeze and kill the Skull Queen. My opponent froze as well. That's unfortunate for me, because now I don't know what he's going to do, but I figured he'd play some set of skeletons, so I played the, Shaman back there. And that was a pretty good move there by my opponent with the Inferno. So things get a little risky, but here comes the Dark Angel, which does, even though, yeah, it does get powered up. Okay, so again, I played the Angel there, hoping to set up a little stack, but my opponent's really being persistent. I guess that's good for him or her. Okay, so we know we need to kill the Skull Queen. I know, and I'm just protecting. I just threw down the Inferno. I pushed the other ones back. With these Skull Queen kind of attack decks, you just have to constantly slow the attack down, especially because, remember, I knew he had... yeah, so here we go. I push back again. And I go Black Knight. Which, I think barely survives. Because I knew he had the Meteor, so I knew this is one of those where you can't let your castle health just get too low. and you just got to constantly be fighting off their attacks. Okay, so now the dragon's out, and I'm not low enough health that I'm too worried about the meteors now. So I'm feeling like I'm in pretty good shape. And you know, the thing is that because my opponent is playing fortify, I have to do a lot of damage. But okay, the Black Knight, or the Dark Angel rather, is out there. Here I freeze in the bottom lane just so I can get my Hollow Knight back. We'll create a stack with the dragon and the angel there. And my opponent's out of cards. I have a bunch of defensive cards if I need them, but I'm not going to need them. And here it's all over. So played a little better that game because I knew what my opponent was playing. That was round 9. And then round 10 was against Predscore from Angry Bulls 2. Not a player I knew. But this was with literally 5 minutes on the clock remaining in the tournament. So it was sort of like, okay, if I don't win this game, I'm not going to get a Master Tournament this time. Again, you know, I just didn't have enough time to play this time around. But so here I thought, okay, Hollow Knight, I'll get the Hollow Knight out in front. And it's probably a decent move for my opponent to stop that. So I just throw the Druid down. But I'm not that disappointed in the result because my opponent used the Black Witch and now has used the Vampire, and I okay, so here I'm actually thinking I'm going to use the Dark Angel on that stack. That skeleton swarm up there, and as you'll see, this becomes a very powerful, even with the Inferno. Look at that. Even with the Inferno, look how much strength the Dark Angel is gaining up there. Here I probably, yeah, I definitely made a mistake. I should not have played the way I did there. Sorry. That's so nice. Yeah, I shouldn't have played the Vampire where I did. I should have played the Black Witch straight away. But now look at that Dark Angel go up there, though. Okay, here in the bottom lane, definitely needs an Inferno. And look at that Dark Angel. It even took out that Vampire that was attacking the Spike statue. And look at the Dark Angel. The Dark Angel did almost all of the damage to the castle in that game. So the Dark Angel against these skeletons is pretty powerful. So I think it's pretty cool, and we'll see how the game changes with the addition of this new card. Okay, so that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit about this new card and how you can use it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give it a like if you like this video. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.